Have you ever heard a dog bark and just brushed it off? What if I told you that one bark saved 2 lives? This isn't just another story about a dog. This is about a loyal K9 German Shepherd, a silent hero, who barked at a pregnant woman on an ordinary day. But what happened next? No one could have seen coming. It was a quiet afternoon in a peaceful neighborhood. The kind of day where everything just feels right. The sky was clear, the sun was warm, and the streets were calm. Birds were singing, kids were riding their bikes, and people were out walking their dogs. It felt like nothing could go wrong. Just another ordinary day. A young woman, around 7 months pregnant, was out for her usual stroll. She had her headphones in, gently cradling her baby bump as she walked. She looked relaxed, content, glowing, the way expecting mothers often do. She had no idea what was about to happen. A few blocks ahead, a police officer was out with his K9 partner. The dog's name was Max, a strong, smart, and highly trained German Shepherd. He wasn't just any dog. Max had worked in search and rescue, helped find missing people, even detected danger before it happened. He was respected, trusted, loved by everyone who knew him. But on this day, Max was about to do something no one had ever seen before. As the woman walked closer to where the officer and Max were standing, something strange happened. Max suddenly stood alert, his ears perked up, his eyes locked onto her, and then he barked, loud, sharp, out of nowhere. The woman paused, a little startled. She looked around, thinking maybe something was wrong, but there was nothing unusual, no danger, no threat, just her and the barking dog. She smiled awkwardly and kept walking, but Max wouldn't stop. He barked again, then again. It wasn't aggressive, but it wasn't playful either. It was like he was trying to say something, like he knew something that no one else did. The officer tugged on Max's leash, trying to calm him down. "Easy, boy, what's going on?" he said softly. Max didn't listen. He kept pulling toward the woman. The officer apologized, but then Max did something unexpected and strangely gentle. He slowly walked up to the woman, stopped right in front of her, and pressed his head against her belly. He let out a low, sad whine, not loud, not angry, just emotional. The woman looked down, confused but touched. "Hey there, what is it, buddy?" she asked. The officer's eyes narrowed. Max had never done this before, never reacted to anyone like this. "Are you feeling okay?" he asked. The woman nodded. "Yeah, I think so. Maybe just a bit tired." Still, something didn't sit right. The officer gently suggested, "Just to be safe. Maybe get checked out." "I know it sounds weird, but Max, he's never wrong." She agreed. More to ease his concern than anything else, later that evening at the hospital, doctors ran some tests. And that's when they found it. A serious and rare pregnancy complication, one that wasn't showing any clear symptoms yet. Something that could have turned dangerous, fast. If she hadn't come in when she did, the outcome might have been tragic. Both her life and the baby's were at risk. But because of Max, that one bark, that one moment, doctors were able to act in time. He didn't just sense something was wrong. He knew it. Max's barking didn't stop. It wasn't loud for no reason. It was desperate. It had urgency in it. People nearby started looking, some confused, some concerned. The officer kept trying to pull Max back, but the dog was locked in. His eyes were fixed on the pregnant woman. He wasn't scared, he wasn't angry. He was trying to say something. The woman, now visibly unsure, stopped walking. She looked at the dog, puzzled. "Is he okay?" she asked. The officer, slightly embarrassed, nodded. "I've never seen him act like this. I don't know what's gotten into him." Max kept pulling, kept inching forward, and then, slowly, gently, He walked up to her. No growling, no barking, just calm steps. He stood right in front of her and looked up into her eyes, and then something unforgettable happened. He pressed his head softly against her belly. No one moved, no one spoke. The woman froze, her eyes wide. The officer just stared. Max let out a low, heart-wrenching whine, not loud, not panicked, almost like he was sad. It wasn't a sound of danger. It was a sound of worry, of care, of something only he could sense. The woman, unsure of what to do, placed her hand on Max's head, and for a second it felt like time stood still. No barking, no noise, just the quiet connection between a dog and an unborn child. The officer gently asked, "Are you feeling all right?" She nodded slowly. "Yeah, maybe a little dizzy today, but nothing serious." Still, the officer felt uneasy. "Look," he said, "it might sound strange,
Not with anyone,
but Max has never
you should
done
get
this
checked
before. Just to be safe." The woman agreed. Maybe it was the dog. Maybe it was something in the way he looked at her. Whatever it was, something told her this wasn't just a moment. It was a warning. Later that evening, she went to the hospital, mostly out of caution, not fear. She didn't expect anything serious. After all, she felt fine. A little tired, maybe, but what pregnant woman doesn't feel that way? Still, Max's reaction had stuck with her. It played in her head over and over, his bark, his eyes, that gentle nudge on her belly. Something about it just wouldn't leave her alone. At the hospital, the doctors ran a few routine tests. Everything seemed normal at first, but then a frown appeared on one doctor's face. They decided to dig a little deeper. More tests, more scans. And then they found it. A rare condition, something called placental abruption. It's where the placenta starts to separate from the uterus. Quiet, dangerous, and often invisible until it's too late. She had no pain, no bleeding, no symptoms. But it was happening, and it was happening fast. If she had waited even a day or two, things could have gone horribly wrong. The doctors immediately took action. They stabilized her, started treatments, and closely monitored her and the baby. It was a scary moment, terrifying, actually. She kept thinking, what if I didn't go? What if I ignored that dog? Her husband held her hand tight, eyes full of fear and love. The hospital staff moved quickly, and eventually, the danger passed. Her baby was okay. She was okay, but just barely. The doctors told her that coming in when she did made all the difference. That dog, they said, might have saved your lives. Tears streamed down her face. The weight of what almost happened hit her all at once. She wasn't just grateful, she was shaken. That German shepherd, that strange barking, that emotional moment in the street. It had all led her here, to safety, to life. All because one dog noticed something no one else could. The next few days felt like a blur. She stayed at the hospital under close watch, grateful beyond words. Every time she looked at the monitor and saw her baby's heartbeat, she thought of Max, a dog she didn't know, a dog who somehow knew everything. Nurses kept coming in, smiling gently, telling her how lucky she was. But it wasn't luck. Not really. It was Max. That bark, the one that scared her for a second, turned out to be the very thing that saved her. Once she was discharged, the first thing she wanted to do was see him again. She went to the police station with her husband, carrying a bag of dog treats and a thank you card, though she knew neither would ever be enough. Max came out, tail wagging, eyes bright, but calm, almost like he knew, like he understood what he had done. The moment she knelt down beside him, Max leaned into her just like before, and this time there were tears. Not from fear, but from overwhelming gratitude. The officer standing nearby wiped his eyes and said softly, "He's special. But I've never seen anything like this. The woman hugged Max tightly and whispered, "You saved us." You really did. Even the most skeptical people around started believing that animals feel more than we give them credit for. News of the story spread through town. People called Max a hero. Kids drew pictures of him in capes. Neighbors stopped by the station just to see him. Some brought toys, others left thank you notes. But Max didn't seem to care for the attention. He wasn't in it for praise. He just did what he felt was right. That's what made it even more powerful. And the woman? She made a promise that day. She would never forget what happened. Every birthday her child celebrates will be a reminder of the day a dog's bark became a life-saving cry. And for Max, that single act of instinct and compassion turned him from a working dog into a living legend. Max's actions were a reminder that sometimes the greatest heroes come in unexpected forms. We often look for answers in the places we can see, hear, and touch. We look for signs in words, in actions, in human form. But sometimes it's the quietest moments, the ones we least expect, that carry the most weight. Max didn't bark to get attention or to cause trouble. He barked because he knew something wasn't right. He felt something we couldn't, a danger that was invisible, silent, and hidden. In that instant, Max wasn't just a dog. He was a guardian, a protector, and a savior. This story isn't just about a dog. It's a reminder that we, as humans, often fail to see what's right in front of us. We get lost in our daily lives, in the rush of our routines, and we overlook things that matter, things that could make all the difference. But animals like Max don't miss a thing. They pay attention. They listen, not just with their ears, but with their hearts. Max showed us that loyalty doesn't come with conditions. He didn't need a reason to act, other than the pure instinct to protect. His only concern was the safety of that woman and her unborn child. And in doing so, he reminded us of what true loyalty means. It's not about following orders or doing what's expected. It's about being there when it matters most, about stepping up without hesitation, without looking for praise, just doing what's right. We often think of dogs as pets, companions, or workers, but stories like this show us they are so much more. They have instincts that are far beyond our understanding, instincts that save lives, protect us, and guide us through moments we can't see or comprehend. The bond between a dog and a human is one that's hard to explain with words, but when you experience it, you realize just how profound it can be. It's easy to dismiss their actions as coincidence or luck, but Max didn't act out of luck. He acted out of care, out of a deep, unspoken connection to his human family. His bark wasn't a random noise. It was a message, a warning, and ultimately, a life-changing action. He knew. And because of that, he saved 2 lives, not just through his training, but through his heart. As we go through our busy days, we should take a moment to remember that we are never truly alone. There are protectors, guides, and guardians all around us. They might not be human, and they might not speak our language, but they understand us in ways that go beyond words. And sometimes, the greatest gestures of love and protection come without any expectation in return. So, the next time you hear a bark or see a dog acting strangely, don't brush it off. Listen, pay attention. Trust that maybe, just maybe, they're trying to tell you something. Because in a world full of noise and distractions, sometimes it's the quietest voices that carry the most truth. Max's bark was more than just sound. It was a cry for help, a life-saving warning, a reminder that love and loyalty don't need words. Sometimes, all they need is a bark to make the world stop and listen. We'll never fully understand the depth of the connections we share with our animals. But one thing is for sure, we owe them more than we realize. Max showed us that the bond between humans and dogs goes beyond companionship. It's a connection of heart, of care, of instinct, and when we least expect it, it can be the difference between life and death.